I want to talk about the female cycle. Also, we're going to say uncomfortable words that people probably aren't going to like cervical mucus and stuff. So just like buckle up. Your cervix, in case you didn't know, it goes from like straight, like being like, yeah, give me the seed, to like, get out of here, I'm not ready. Yeah. God designed a pretty simple, if you know how to use it, system. Welcome to Under the Sun podcast.
I'm Irene.
And I'm Ilea. We're so glad you're here. Grab a hot
or iced coffee and join us as we talk about everything under the sun. In my teeth.
It smells like farts. Or popcorn smells like farts.
I don't know why. That is a burned bag though. It's probably just burnt popcorn.
I've never been a popcorn person. I'm there for the butter and salt. Like
I am there. I just like to. I enjoy eating, and I like to back to my. I don't know what order you're posting this. My sunflower seed conversation. You can eat like 7,000 sunflower seeds, and it's not that many calories. You're getting some protein if it's not doused in like canola oil. But popcorn, like you can eat 1 million of them. And it's just like you just get to crunch all day. Organic, non-GMO.
Nice.
Coconut oil, salt. It says butter type flavor. That's a little concerning, but everything else is at least organic, non-GMO.
That's great. I'm glad you like it. It smells like farts. But I've never been a popcorn.
Okay.
I love corn on the cob. Love it. But also, again, I think I love the butter and salt you put on it.
Oh, yeah. We've been making popcorn at home with the kids because they're in there, like they can sit through a whole movie phase. It's been so fun going to the movies with them. But the popcorn there makes Nova rash, like head to toe. Sure. But it's not butter. It's like soybean oil they're putting on it, and it tastes delicious. But it also will make me a little queasy. So we'll make it at home, put it in a Ziploc bag, and then take it. But if I'm too lazy to make it, I'll just buy that brand. But I found some heirloom Amish popcorn kernels at a grocery store nearby. Wow. So that's cool because they're like black. So the kids think it's fun because they just look different. Yeah. And we'll air pop it in our stainless steel pan. What color does it pop? Just regular popcorn color. But yeah, that's been fun. And then we can put a little bit of pluck on it, or we can put we put like some cinnamon and sugar on it before.
Yeah. Huh. Mm-hmm. I want to grow more corn this year. Right. Last year, it was like right about to be able to be harvested to eat, and a raccoon or something got it and ate every single. I had like 2 rows. I had 2 or 3. I can't remember. There was a whole row of them, which would have like yielded like, I don't know, a large tote. That I could have shared the popcorn with other people. But they literally all of them one night. The day before, I had looked at them. I was like, oh my gosh, they're almost ready. And then the next day I went out to the garden and they were all like just.
How do you keep a raccoon out? Because they can kind of climb anything.
Like shock
Scranton, stuff. What?
Electricity. Okay.
What are we here for? Why am I here?
We hit record and then we just start talking. That's the problem with like podcasting with your friend, is that your conversations just kind of all bleed together. You're like, did we talk about that on the podcast, or did we just actually talk about that in real life?
But what's great or terrible for you, I don't know. You tell us. We usually just jump in because the intro explains it.
Sometimes, but sometimes they don't have time to actually make an intro, and so it just jumps in.
No, I mean like the pre-made intro that's like, welcome to some podcast, something. It's like it kind of gives you the gist of who we are as people. So I'm like, that's fine. They heard the intro.
Yeah.
But I know like if I go to YouTube and look up like how to curl my hair, and the title says how to curl my hair, and the thumbnail says how to curl my hair, it's like, hey everybody, today we're going to learn how to curl your hair. I'm like, oh my gosh, I know, get to the information. So I think my instinct is just to like bypass pleasantries and jump into the information.
Yeah.
But tell me, I don't know, you guys tell us, is that weird? Should we properly say hello to you? Do you feel neglected out there?
Our retention rate is better when I take snippets from the podcast, like different time periods through the podcast, and put them at the beginning. Our retention rate's much better, but our viewership since the new year has gone down pretty bad.
Our Instagram, it's either bots because
something,
I don't know, but I still laugh because we did our 35,000 followers post that we left on our feed because it makes me laugh. And then we did a post about abortion where people were like, you deceived me. I can't believe I followed you. I'm like, clearly you're not listening to our podcast if you don't know where we stand on this issue.
No.
But then we went down to 34,000, and then now 2025 or 30, did I say 20? 35,000 to 34,000. And then now in the new year, we're at 33,000. Yeah. But I think that Instagram's getting rid of their bot accounts that are there just to spam you every time you say COVID on there. So it's like good. I'd rather have 33,000 like solid actual human beings than a bunch of fake robot followers.
Well, and I'm I need to figure it out because one of our biggest reels where they talked about the bucket baby, they took the audio off of it.
You're kidding.
So I'm like, well, why would you do that?
Yeah.
You can kind of still get the gist of it because it has text.
He's coming back around.
Who's coming back around?
What's his face?
Oh, Beta, Mr. Zuckerberg.
Yeah, but as long as he's not blocking our posts anymore.
I think he's the biggest bitch.
Oh, he's definitely going to hitch his wagon to whoever's in charge.
That's literally what's happening. He's like, oh no, like people are going to now hold me accountable for the things I did. Oh, now I'm suddenly tan and eating meat and doing jujitsu and I'm cool. Like, no, I see right through you, little twat. Like, I
don't care as long as he gives me my Instagram back.
I did though, like right after that post of him like being like, oh yeah, like free speech is important to me. And I'm like, okay. My like Instagram went from being in like where they reduced it in the feed to where I'm now not reduced in the feed.
Woohoo.
So I'm like, so part of me was like, I hate you, but then also I'm like,
freedom.
Thank you for that.
Yeah,
but also, okay, that's not, none of this
I
is.
kind of wonder, okay, never mind. Get on topic. I will talk forever.
Just say
my coffee's now kicking in.
Oh, I need to finish mine. Okay, we're doing a podcast that we've never really done before. It's going to be probably a little bit more formal, I guess, for me because I'm going to like be reading a lot because I want to make sure I get it right for everybody.
Yeah.
But feel free to interject and I don't know.
Yeah.
With whatever. But I want to talk about the female cycle because it makes me think of on Reba when she's like when her daughter gets pregnant, Cheyenne, and she's like, I thought you could only get pregnant like 2 days a month. And she was like, and Reba was like, no, you can get pregnant any day of the month, standing up, sitting down, or in a hotel hot tub. You remember that?
And I need to rewatch that.
We thought you could only get pregnant 1 day a month.
What? You can get pregnant the first time you have sex, most days of the month, standing up, sitting down, and in a hotel hot tub.
It's such a great show. Horrible. But I believe that. I was like, oh man, like any day of the week, like you can get pregnant at any point. And I stand up, sit down in a hotel hot tub. That's not true.
Yeah.
Like, yes, your hormones can be imbalanced and there could be like some flukes, but for the most part, God designed a pretty simple, if you know how to use it, system. And like we just aren't taught.
Yeah.
In our upbringing, like I think back in the day, generationally, like the mothers and grandmothers would teach women like how to like track their cycle because like otherwise how would they know when they were pregnant? Like how would they know?
Yeah.
So like we have just become very disconnected to that feminine side of us. And we're constantly throwing birth control at it. Like no matter what it is, it's like, oh, you have a headache? Here's some birth control. You have acne? Birth control. Oh, depression? Birth control. You need to lose weight? Birth control. Like, and so we get like we've had so many interruptions to our natural circadian rhythm of our body. And then also like we wear like microplastics and stuff. If anybody listens to my Instagram, like I went through a rampage. It's like,
okay, I'm already going to interject. Did you switch your bras out though?
I already am been in 100% cotton bras, but they give me 2 boobs. So like I need to find like, I've been looking at they're like merino wool bras. I'm like, I feel
they
like
keep
wool
getting
would be,
advertised
I know,
to
but
me.
I'm like, I feel like it would be itchy. I want to try it.
Yeah.
But I currently just have the 100% cotton from Walmart. They're like the tube with the string. But like I definitely need to find a bra that has like more lift and oomph for like events. Like if I'm around the house, like I don't care.
Yeah.
But like since
if I'm at the house, I'm probably not in a bra. Which is probably TMI. But
you what?
If I'm at the house, I'm probably not in a bra.
See, I can't do anything unless I'm wearing a bra.
Does it put you in like sleep mode?
Yeah, it puts me in.
As
I'm
long as I
relaxing
have real
mode.
like tight pants on, the rest of me can be
Interesting.
loosey goosey. But I need to I just bought a brand new sports bra and it's like 99% polyester and like 2% spandex or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, I'm doing active things. I've not been able to find a cotton one that either has the correct padding or has enough for like a legit workout.
Yeah. I don't know. I think all in its time. Like you'll feel better and then eventually you'll I mean, again,
Someone
can
needs
only
to
have
make
that,
it and I don't want another business right now.
I know.
So somebody please make a sports bra that is cotton that actually holds.
Cotton or a natural fiber, whatever it is, a natural fiber. Anyway, so I'm trying to switch out the microplastics because then it also affects your hormones. So we're just like, we're being bombarded with things that'll change it. But I just want to get the basics of what a female cycle looks like. The average female cycle looks like. Now there's obviously variables between like PCOS, endometriosis, estrogen dominance, progesterone issues. It's those are all naturally curable. Like I know a lot of people are like, oh, if you have PCOS, you just have to be on medication the rest of your life, or thyroid stuff. It's like, that's okay. You're not medication deficient, but I think we're really out of rhythm with God's natural design. So
do you have brain fog? Are you lethargic? Do you have digestion issues? Do you not poop enough? Are you pooping too much? Do you have angry outbursts? Does your butthole itch? Irene, does your butthole itch? Don't answer that. Don't answer.
I'm going to answer.
Well, if your butthole itches, what does that mean?
Question. That means you have a worm.
Or many worms.
Lots of worms.
And I know what you're thinking. Worms, are you kidding? That doesn't happen.
I've not left the country.
Yeah, it happens. Guys, like you can go touch the soil in your front yard and get worms from there. Like, because
if you have pets, they lick you.
We're disgusting, honestly. And like food, like produce, if it's not cleaned properly or if it's grown and like, they're everywhere. Yeah. So most cultures cleanse once a quarter.
Yeah.
So
deworm themselves all the time.
You gotta deworm yourself, and we have the perfect brand for you.
Yes. Rogers Hood is where we get all of our parasite things from. She has this kit. It gives you everything you need. It has 3 tinctures. There are
and heavy metals too.
Yep, pulls heavy metals out. It's so great. Yeah. I did it. I'll just say it. I did it. And the very first day that I started the tinctures, an 8-inch tapeworm came out of my butt.
8 inch.
So, and I mean, I have left the country on like cruises, but it's all sanitary and everything's washed and they're there.
It's just life, and we have to just cleanse regularly. Yeah. So use our code UTSP10 and you won't regret it.
Yeah.
The basics of the female cycle. I'm going to read this-ish so that we can, and feel free to interject anywhere. And it's also just super empowering to be like, oh, like we've talked about this before. I'm in this phase, so I'm not as productive like late luteal. I'm just not going to feel like it. Like we can still do hard things and push past the feelings of things. But if also you know that you can just do it next week when you're ovulating and you're like on fire, then just do it. But the basics, there are 4 parts to a female cycle. The first, so day 1, so when you stop bleeding, that's your menstrual phase. That's usually day 1 through 5, 1 through 7.
Bleeding.
What?
Start bleeding.
Yeah, start bleeding.
Okay. I thought you said stop.
Oh,
you
start.
may have said start, but just in case anyone.
So the first day of your cycle is the first day you start bleeding. We're not going to get into the semantics, the details of like, oh, like some women spot a couple days before they actually start. So when does that day actually start? Or like, you know, it's heavy for the first couple of days. Usually those are like hormone, progesterone issues, but we're not going to get into that today. But the first phase is menstrual, and that's day like 1 through 5. And obviously it's the shedding of the uterine lining. It helps if you like drink like ginger tea and warming things that are like calming, because your body's like, I know women are used to it, but like it's working really hard to like, that shedding is like a detox, it's a detox pathway. Yeah. So like if you can support your body into getting all the gunk out, that would be great. The next phase is what?
I'm trying to get the popcorn kernel out of my tooth without looking on camera. So look at Ilea. Don't look at me.
The next is the follicular phase, which is day, like, I know it's maybe a little confusing, but it's day like 1 through 13, because like not every woman bleeds the same amount of time. So like that's your follicular phase. And this is where like your egg is reaching maturity and your estrogen rises. And you can you need to like eat like iron rich foods to help like aid your body in the blood you've just lost. So like grass-fed beef, spinach, and also like it helps support ovulation. And then there's ovulatory phase. We all know that phase where we feel fantastic. At least if like you're in tune with your body. Yeah. Like, you know, I'm like, why does that feel so good? Oh, I'm ovulating. And that's day 14 through 16 typically. Yeah. And obviously that varies per person. But we're going to get into like how to figure out where you're actually ovulating. And referencing back to Reba, where she's like, you can any day of the week get pregnant. Well, if your cervix is open every day of the month, like you're going to get bacterial, you're going to get infections. Like, you know, if you're married, there's stuff going on, and like your uterus just can't be, your cervix can't just be open all the time. Yeah. It can't be exposed to all the bacteria and stuff of the world. So like, this is the day that your cervix is open. We're going to say uncomfortable words that people probably aren't going to like cervical mucus and stuff. So just like buckle up.
But also like, if you're a man and you're here, then why are you here?
Yeah.
You're welcome here, but like,
we don't have any male demographics that I've seen.
Okay, good. I thought I saw like 2% somewhere. I'm like, who are you and where are you?
I don't know. And let us know if you're a man in the listening to us. But obviously the egg releases when you're like in your ovulatory phase, your peak fertility, your cervix is open, and proper hydration ensures the your fertility for like the mucus actually being not too thick and sticky to where like the sperm, if you're wanting to get pregnant, can get where it needs to go.
Yeah.
And then you hit your luteal phase, day 17 through 28, which can be your progesterone rises if you have a potential implantation. And things to help you. I have like a little holistic tip. You can increase your magnesium, B6, healthy fats to support progesterone and stabilizing mood and preventing PMS. So that's like the basics. That's what your month looks like from the first day of your period until you have your next period. Now, I never knew that as a kid. I never knew there were different phases. Nowhere in my teenage, because I started at 12.
Yeah.
When did you start?
It's 12.
Yeah. Which we're lucky because like now kids are starting at like 8, 9, 7, 8, 9.
Children are bombarded with hormones from the day that they're born.
I know. My thing is like, I didn't think about it until I was listening to somebody else. I think the Diary of a CEO had an episode about like a woman talking about fertility. And she was like, the scary thing about kids, like girls, especially starting earlier, is that you are born with a finite amount of eggs. And if you're starting earlier and we're all having babies later, then that means we're not having as many, like there's not going to be as many eggs available.
Yeah.
Because like where kids used to have
passing eggs every
like
month.
17 having 3 kids already. And now they're like, I mean, I didn't start having, like Leo was born when I was 29.
Yeah.
So, which I don't regret. I actually wish we would have had kids sooner, but obviously everything works out for good. But I found this interesting that PCOS and hormone imbalances are often due to insulin resistance. And it's directly correlated with an imbalance there, which I thought was interesting because I'm like, no one ever talks about sugar being related to PCOS. I don't at least hear it very often. Not like, I should say outside the holistic space.
Right. Yeah.
Like when I was like 18, 19 or whatever, and I went to the OB and they were like, oh, you have PCOS, you'll never be able to get pregnant. And so like, you'll just have to come in here when you're ready to get pregnant. And I was like, well, no, there has to be something I can change. And they were like, nope. And then I fired them. And it was like probably the first time I ever stood up for myself ever in my whole life. Yeah. And no one ever said, like, they could have said like, hey, like high insulin, like eating too much sugar can affect your ovulation. Yeah. Which basically makes the whole rhythm get out of sync. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. How to track your cycle with basal body temperature. Are you still daisying?
No.
No?
No, but I got not lazy, but like, I don't care if we get pregnant, but I'm also not going out of my way to like try to get pregnant. So I'm like, whatever, this daisy is not important to me right now. Cause it's like, we're just living life as if like, if it happens, God wants us to have this child. If it doesn't, that's fine. So I stopped I stopped in the summer because I just forgot. I'm also still not getting great. Like my kids they're not great sleeper through the nighters. So it's like, I'm not really getting that long 2-hour window. Like someone either has to go pee or someone had a nightmare or someone's in my bed and kicking me in the face. So that 2-hour like accuracy window, I was like, I don't know that I trust the daisy wholeheartedly anyways. But now we kind of hit the phase where if it's like, whatever, if it happens, it happens. So all that to say, I don't track. Now I'll track it to put my period dates in. That way I'm not completely caught off guard and I kind of know what's going on. But other than, I don't track the temperature. I just add my period to the app.
Right.
But
that's
it. I'm living free. But I can tell at this point by my mood or by my productivity level where I'm at.
Yeah.
So
Leo broke my daisy. So she broke the tip off of it. No. So if you don't know what a daisy is a basal body thermometer thermometer that you put under your tongue. Basically, as soon as you wake up, before you like stand up, before you grab your phone, before you take a drink of water, you take your basal body temperature to get the baseline of your temperature. It's not like the thermometer you put on your armpit when you have a fever. It has the 2 decibel difference, whatever. Yeah. And it's a specific brand and it can be on the pricier side, but like for me, I've had that since
a long time.
I mean, 5. I did it like 3 years before Leo. And then I've used it for like a year. I mean, on and off for like a year. But again, like I think it's really great. The daisy is like a great entry of like, if you're overwhelmed, because like you can do the basal body temperature charting and like write manually down every time.
That's too much effort.
It's a lot of effort. And if you have the energy for that, more power to you. I'll give you some tips in here to like help keep it like to do that. Cause that's like an affordable way. You can get a basal body temperature for like $5.
Yeah. Like Walgreens has them.
Yeah. But like the Daisy, I think when we bought it, it was like $300 or something. But that lasted a long time. And it gives you a color coding system. So you take your temperature and it either says like green, like you're good to have unprotected sex and you won't get pregnant. Again, you can use it in reverse order, obviously. Yellow, it's not quite sure, or red means you're ovulating. So you can use that to either conceive or prevent pregnancy. But Leo broke mine. So,
oh no.
But she likes to unzip and zip the like the case.
Yeah. Does yours have a case?
Yeah, I bought a case for. Actually, someone sent it to me as like a deal back in the day.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
So it's been in a case, but she was playing with it and she took the cover off and it like snapped at the base. And I'm like, it technically still turns on, but it's like dangling and there's wires. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to like
electrocute yourself. I don't know how electricity works, but electrocute yourself.
I know. Okay. So we said a lot of words. I'm sure not everyone who like knows this. And so like we've said basal body temperature before BBT, and we've had comments of like, what are you talking about? Yeah. And so like, we'll just do a real quick summary. Yeah. So you can use a thermometer within the 2 decimal points. Same time every morning. I already said that. And if you just get like a thermometer from Walgreens or whatever, you just basically take it every single day and write down what your temperature is, and you can get your average. Like you can basically get like a really great data system on your body, and like it can tell you like what's going on. So before ovulation, the follicular phase, your temps are going to be lower. So somewhere from 97 degrees Fahrenheit to 97.7 degrees Fahrenheit. So, and your cervical music will go from dry to sticky, creamy to egg white. Okay. I know it's super gross, and more power to you. Some people check cervix placement because like your cervix, in case you didn't know, it goes from like, I don't know how to represent this on the screen. It goes from being like tucked out of the way to straight, like being like, yeah, give me the seed, to like, get out of here. I'm not ready. Yeah. I have no interest in shoving my hand up there and checking where my cervix is at. I can have other indicators. I don't need that. I don't need that in my life.
I don't need that either. Didn't need it when I was pregnant either. Like just like
cervical
check.
checks.
Like no one needs, just leave my cervix alone.
Yeah. Yep.
Everybody all the time.
I know. I get the ick when women post like, oh yeah, I just went to the doctor and I'm 3 centimeters. I'm like, why? You're like 37 weeks pregnant. Yeah. Get that bacteria out of there. Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah, but we were the odd ones not knowing. The amount of times people are like, oh, are you dilated? I'm like, hey, no.
That's a weird question.
I don't know. But
yeah.
Like we were the weird ones for not ever finding out.
I know. And I don't regret that ever. I also don't regret not having a million sonograms. We just had the one sonogram at 20 weeks. I don't mind them. We didn't have a million. We do the confirmation of pregnancy one, and then the anatomy scan. And I think we only got a third with Riker because he was so far overdue. But I think I wanted the third with Nova, but they were like, there's no reason for you to get one. I was like, fine. I mean, there are places you can go and just pay them out of pocket.
But I also, like, I trusted the place we went to not, like, keep it on there too long. I trusted them to, like, get in, take their picture, look around, and get out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that is one of my favorite pictures of Riker's, his little smushy face all, like, smushed in there. It's so cute. It's on our TV loop.
I need to create one of those. I like the next kid we have, like, I don't want to find out the gender. But Dave was like, we have to because we filmed everything with Leo. So like now he has this pressure. Like, I want to make sure the next kid feels as special like that. We don't have any, like, we have way more footage of Leo versus the other kid. And so he's like, we need to find out so we can do a gender reveal. I'm like, okay. But to me, it's really motivating. Like I would want to know. So I want to get the kid out faster because I don't know what it is. Yeah. I don't know. Anyways.
I'm too much of a control freak. I will find out.
That's Dave. I married you basically in Dave.
It's very true.
So also your LH surges when you're ovulating, like 1 to 2 days before you're ovulating. So like, I didn't know this, that like if you're taking an ovulation test, you have 12 to 36 hours like that. It's a window. It doesn't it shows that ovulation is coming. It doesn't mean ovulation is already like there and happening. So I think that's a lot of people get that confused.
Yeah.
Let's see. On ovulation day, your temp drops slightly. Before ovulation, your cervical mucus is egg white and watery.
It's funny that I forget that people freak out though, because I'm like, yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, people think it's
get grossed
uncomfortable.
out.
I forget.
But you have to get. I listened to a podcast the other day that was like something about like your feminine energy, and that gives me the ick.
Yeah.
But I'm like, there is something about that we have gotten out of sync with our natural feminine flow.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term, like our natural like rhythm of like,
Yeah.
hey, like I don't think. Yeah, I think we've gotten it kind of wrong the last little bit. So, let's see. Ovulation is confirmed when your basal body temperature raises at least 0.5 degrees. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, like
0.5
just 0.5
degrees.
Yeah.
Your body is suddenly like able to like drop an egg, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Do you know who Procter & Gamble is?
I wish I didn't.
They're the owners of Pampers and Loves. They help fund the murder and mutilation of children. Did you know that?
Which is bizarre for someone who claims to care about your child's rear end.
Not to mention that, but also their stuff is filled with harsh chemicals, endocrine disruptors, carcinogens, like in the diaper on your kids' most sensitive parts. It tells you exactly who they are and that they actually don't care about your kid. They care about getting your money for their product. I have made the switch and I have not looked back once.
Good.
It's with Every Life. They are non-toxic diaper company, but they auto ship to your door, and we have a code with them now because I use their product.
Yeah.
Like we always do, guys. We use the product first,
Yes.
and then we're like, we reach out. We're like, guys, we want to talk about you on the podcast because we think our listeners would actually really benefit from this information.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
or this product. So, anywho, but yeah, we have a code with them.
Woohoo! Go UTSP10.
Yeah, and you get 10% off your
Yes.
purchase, which I don't think you'll regret at all. It's non-toxic, super soft, really
Yay!
like it feels like a nice quality, and
Good.
it doesn't feel like plastic, if that makes sense.
And they don't support murder. They don't support murder.
Okay, UTSP10, bye.
And then it stays high for 3 days plus. And then after ovulation, the luteal phase, your temps increased due to progesterone, 98 degrees to 98.6, which is interesting because I'm like, how does that work if someone like gets sick? Like if their temperature's raising, like, oh, you have a fever.
Well, even the daisies, like don't. Basically,
We don't know.
I don't know if they don't say don't trust us, but like we can't guarantee accuracy if you have a fever because your temperature's all over the place.
98 to 98.6, your cervical music. Your cervical music.
Mucus.
Thank you.
Like, do I let her get it? Do I help her out here?
Mucus dries up, and if temp stays high for 18 plus days, pregnancy is possible. So like if you're doing this on your own, I'm just trying to give more context of ways, because also like there are women on my personal page mostly that have like, I've shared, just things about, home birth and stuff, and we're just friends, and they've shared that like they're having troubles conceiving. And like they just have no idea about these, like what their cycle is like. And like I'm like, well, what day are you having sex or whatever? And like basically they just don't understand. And I'm like, if I could have heard something like this at, I don't know, when 15, like imagine how like in tune I would be with my body by now. Like I'm already pretty in tune, but like I could be much better. Anyways, signs of cycle issues and basal body temperature tracking. No temperature rise could mean ovulation. So no ovulation occurred. Short luteal phase below 10 days could indicate low progesterone. Erratic temperatures may indicate stress, illness, poor sleep, or thyroid imbalance. So ways to use it for like pregnancy prevention and conception, obviously, is like, then don't have sex when you're ovulating and your mucus is super egg whitey. Yeah. You're welcome for that. Cause like, I don't know. I mean, it's different when you,
not a gross thing. It is a tool great thing. To get the sperm where it needs to go. So if you think about it that way, it's not like, ew, there's mucus. It's like, well, that is the carrier that pushes through.
Like if you're in your, like the dry to sticky phase, which is I know I feel weird saying it, but I'm not uncomfortable. But but because people are hearing the words coming out of my mouth, it's basically making it to where like you can't get pregnant because like it's inhospitable mucus. You know, that's why it becomes like watery and egg white, because it helps. Like I didn't know that like basically your mucus has like nutrients in it for the sperm to help get it where it needs to go. So it's like teamwork all the way. Like it's pretty cool. So here's some tips for holistic cycle tracking. You can do cervical mucus, just a summary. It helps the accuracy if your blood sugar is balanced. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
It's like our whole damn system. It's so crazy.
It's crazy.
Reducing stress will make it more accurate, and sleeping well will make it even more accurate.
Yeah.
So like, as someone who's a recovering boss babe, like, boss babe, push it, like sleep when you're dead type person. That's the mentality I used to have. Now I'm like, no, like in order for me to have just a balanced life, I'm going to go to sleep when I actually feel tired. Like, I'm not going to keep pushing past it, because it clearly shows up in temperatures and like your rhythm of being a woman.
Like even if your brain thinks you can handle it, your body will tell you otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah. Or if you're like,
and maybe it may not scream
stressed.
it at you, like knock you out with a flu or something, but in little ways it'll say like, hey, this is not good.
Yeah.
Figure this out.
Yeah. It's kind of like what a gift it is to have a body that communicates, even though you don't really realize it. Like, even if, like, I think we're enabled to not listen to it because we're like, oh, like everything is pushed past your limits. And it's like, that's a male way of operating. Like I do think
they can do that and they can sustain that.
Yeah, they can, because their hormones recycle every 24 hours. They're like,
must be nice.
But women's, it's 30 freaking days. Like we have to, so it's very
Which
different.
I was saying the guys should do a podcast on the flip side of this, because how many guys are out there that's like, my wife is crazy. It's like, no, I don't want to say the term like a cry for help, but like it's a cry for help from her hormones.
Yeah. Say what you told me though.
Oh yeah. So Jacob, my husband, was telling me he heard it on a podcast. So he told me there's something, which I kind of love that he heard on a podcast because he listens to us, but also if he hears it on a podcast, then I'm like, I told you that in the past once. But this was actually new news that he heard on a podcast and told me. I was like, that's great. And it was that there is I don't know if it's psychological or biological reason that we get so angry at the husbands. And it's that biologically, this man did not, even if you're not trying to get pregnant, if you start your period or you're about to, it's like, this man did not provide what I need, so he is worthless to me. And even if you're not actively trying to conceive, like your hormones are screaming, like our whole bodies are designed to cycle and birth children. It's like, no, this man did not provide. So that's why you get a little bit more irritated with your spouse than anybody. It's like, that's so fascinating.
Yeah.
But, and like, you kind of get irritated a little bit at everybody, but like the undercurrent, like you're not going to be mean to your coworker in theory, let's hope.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a little bit harder to get home and like not snap at this person that you love. And so it made so much sense where it's like, oh yeah, you did not provide. This is why I'm snappy at you.
Yeah.
So fascinating.
I get that, because when you do it's the FAM method, Fertility Awareness Method / Basal Body Temperature. There's lots of names, natural family planning, which I highly recommend, because I have a whole list of, I was going to do like a whole bash on hormonal pregnancy, hormonal birth control, but we all know like it wrecks.
If you're already here and listening to this, then
it wrecks all of your minerals, vitamins, can make you fat, can make you too skinny. Can it made me like schizo.
Yeah.
Is that the right term? Schizo, where like you imagine
like different
things.
Personalities popping in and out.
It's just not good for you. But we are so like, again, I someday I'm going to freaking do it and just make the podcast about what the feminist revolution did. It started out good. Yeah, of course. Like we should vote. Like we should have a say in our economy. We should be able to have a credit card and or hold a bank account, own land.
Yeah.
Those things are great. It got hijacked by like, I want to be in a man's world. And sometimes, that's good. But like, I don't know. I go back and forth between like, yes, we can do hard things. But also when we're living in like corporate America, I don't really think anybody's supposed to live in corporate America, but when we're in corporate America every day and we can't like actually listen and be in tune with our bodies, it's gonna like, we're living in a way more masculine way, which increases testosterone, which makes us less fertile, which makes us less happy. Cause like, we're not supposed to have so much testosterone as the men. We're supposed to be feminine, hanging out with women and get sync up together and be able to like basically be in the same phase at the same time. So if we're all sad and emotional, we can watch a movie together and cry at the TV and it all makes sense instead of being like, why are you that way?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But that's it. That was just the basics of if you were a 15 or like even if you're 30 and you're like, I didn't know this was a thing. Cause like I was having a conversation with a girl on my personal Instagram and she was like, hey, I posted something about the COVID vaccine and how like the incidence of like miscarriage and stillbirth. And she was like, oh my gosh, I never heard this. This is crazy. And I'm a nurse at the hospital locally.
Yeah.
And I was like, she's like, and we're trying to conceive now. And I was like, and she's like, I took it because I had no choice. And of course I didn't argue that like you always have a choice. It's your body. And she was, I don't know why. Like I think I was nap trapped and I was just like responding a lot. And so I sent her a bunch of podcasts, a couple of our podcasts. And I was like, we need one of like the basic kickoff of like, hey, you want to quit birth control?
Yeah.
Start here if you're wanting to prevent pregnancy or if you're trying to conceive. Or if you think and suspect a hormone imbalance, track it enough to where it can tell you if you're not producing enough progesterone because your temperature never rose, or if you're like estrogen dominant, if like there's the information is out there where you can look and see where you're at in your cycle and what your temperature is and what that means for your hormones. Yeah. Versus like getting a bunch of blood tests that will probably tell you you're within range. So,
but which also like we're kind of not new-ish, but we're new-ish to not pushing through our exhaustion because you and I are chronic overdoers. But we're trying to cycle sync a little bit more this year. And I've only been through like truly doing it like one cycle and it has been so great. Yeah. Because to the ability to rest when my body is screaming at me to rest, but then there's my brain that's like, you're more productive than this. How dare you sit on the, like you are a lazy sack of crap. Why are you just watching TV all day?
And then it's like, why is your self-talk like that?
Even but then you're like self-talk, like even like that self, like negative words even to yourself will affect a lot. So this last cycle, even just knowing like, okay, my cycle's kind of coming up. Like I chilled, I sat on the couch. And when I started to think you should be up doing the dishes, I was trying to rewire my brain to be like, no, you need to rest and it's fine. And the dishes will get done eventually. And I also know that during my like ovulatory phase, I am going to be more productive than a good chunk of people because my overdrive kicks in and I have more energy to overproduce like a psycho when I have actually rested and I'm kinder to myself. And just being kind to yourself is, and not like the self-love, you are worthy type of stuff, but like you can't tell yourself you suck every day because then even during your ovulatory phase, you're going to think you suck. So just learning where your phase is at too. Because there were times where I'm like, why am I so tired? Why do I have no energy? I am so depleted. And I just wasn't paying attention to my cycle.
If you tell yourself you're depleted enough, then you're going to become depleted.
Well, and then just pushing through, like I'd muscle through. And this is like, there are times where you have to pull up your big girl pants and get it done. And there are times when it's like, you don't have to deep clean why are you deep cleaning the garage today when you don't want to? Just because you put it on your to-do list. Like it's okay to just sit. And so knowing where my phase is at and where my energy levels are at and actually listening versus chugging coffee and doing it anyways has been so productive.
Yeah, that's good. Because even with like the guys, I'm helping out with their documentary. And I let like my house kind of go to crap because I was trying to do our podcast, their stuff. And then I help someone else with their social media. Just like there's only so many hours in the day. Yeah. And it's great to know like, oh, I'm headed towards my ovulatory phase where I'll be able to manage all of this a lot better. Yes. So like, I'm just going to do the minimum on most. And like, there's way more. It's not lazy. Like my old brain would have been like, you're lazy. And instead I'm like, no, it's just because like you were 5 days, like you're late. It is, you're late luteal and there's not much energy left. And this is what has to happen. Just rest a little more, watch some Downton Abbey while knitting, while your kid plays with toys. Like it's, and that to me, the way I recharge too is, and I don't like it. I wish I was a more productive recharger. Like, oh, like I don't know. I build things when I recharge. I don't know. But I'm not a dude. I'm a woman, and I recharge by like being snuggly and warm in a comfy blanket in my pajamas, watching a movie that makes me giggle or is filled with drama, whatever. Like that's how I can recharge, and then my cup feels a lot more full for the productive.
And it's not because you're lazy. It's because your hormones are in a phase where you need to relax.
Yeah, where your temperature literally drops. So I'm hoping to like, I wouldn't mind making this like a series of like, okay, this is phase 1. This is the basics of what your hormones or what your cycle looks like.
Yeah.
And then like just the things I've learned, and like obviously I'll gather more information of like, okay, like if you have more PCOS, endometriosis, like here's like a way to like naturally yourself, not medication, to where you, like I have to give a whole bunch of disclaimers. It's just like, hey, if you want to gently, like, you know, nettle leaf tea is good for hormones and all the things. So I hope this was helpful.
Yeah.
Okay. We will see you guys next week, and hope your cervix is mucusy. I don't know. Hope it's filled with egg whites. Goodbye.
This content is for educational purposes only and is not intended as medical advice.
Please do your own research and find a trusted medical professional for personalized guidance and advice.
We are not responsible for your decisions based on the information you hear on this podcast.
Bye.
Bye.